celebrate you first of all and just say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you because you keep on looking beyond our faults and supplying our needs. We want to thank you that no hurt or harm or danger came upon us or together. God, we want to thank you because in the midst of all things, you kept on being God for us.
Yes.
And when I talk about you being God, that means you're that supreme authority that works. I'm glad in areas that I don't even know to pray for. You release things I didn't even know to request. You provided stuff that I didn't even know that I needed provisions for. So I thank you for having you in my life. I'm thankful that I have someone that sits on the throne. He sits high and he said, watch low. I thank you. So God, on tonight, as we're going to this Bible study, we ask that you just allow your spirit to come into this place and set up in such a way that I know we've come to be informed, but God, we want the kind of instruction that is transformative. Every time we hear the word, we want it to sharpen us. Transform our thoughts, God. Oh, what kind of person we would be if we had the right mindset. So God, whatever it takes to shift us so that we'll be what you're calling for. We say yes, and amen. Go ahead and put your hands I'm glad you're here tonight. I'm glad you're here tonight. You are worthy to be praised. We give you the glory. We worship you. You are worthy to be praised. We give you all. We give you all. We worship you. You are worthy to. One more time. We give you we worship you. You are worthy. He's worthy to be praised.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Amen. You may be seated in the presence of the Lord. Amen. We are just excited again to have you here on tonight as we continue to journey through the Gospel of Matthew, chapter number 21. And I just have you already just read the entire chapter so that as we deal with dialogue and teach in a class, that's what we would call expository, to expository, to expose, explain the text. I think it's good when you just take time to stay in the Word of God. I'm telling you, the more you read it and kind of let it live in you, and it can continue to give life. So I always give the analogy because I think it's the best one. It's like an onion. Every layer you take off, it gets stronger, stronger, and stronger, and stronger. And we've been in this, just as a simple review. We're talking about Jesus as he's coming into the last week of what we call Passion Week, as he's going into Calvary. Sometimes I think we forget that God is so divine with his timing that he knows how to make everything happen at the right time. Sometimes when we preach the Word of God and teach the Word of God, sometimes we forget to put the little points together that reminds us of how significant everything was. When you come into Passion Week and the time of his crucifixion and his resurrection, you are dealing with this Passover season. You know, we forget that it's Passover when he's going to Calvary.
Right.
And sometimes we forget why that is significant. The Passover causes them to reflect on what God had done for them or their ancestors under Pharaoh. When you talk about the Passover, we categorize it as the Passover, but really it was that Passover event that shifted them into movement. What's the Passover event? Well, the Passover event is not when they had to deal with the plagues and leprosy. The Passover event is when Pharaoh says, all of your first children are going to die. And the Lord then gave instruction to Moses and says, go get a lamb and put it on the doorpost. And when I see the blood, I'll cause the death angel to what? Okay, now we into something. So the Passover statement wasn't just with the plagues. It came when he said, when I see the blood, I'm going to cause things to pass over. Why is that so important? Because if you connect the dots with Calvary, on Calvary we see blood. Are you with me? So I'm saying that to give you insight that God at no time is without a solution for your circumstance.
That's good.
And sometimes he takes you through a process for you to get the right perspective how efficient he really is. He waits until the season of Passover to really cause the last Passover in the sense that we don't need another lamb. We don't need any more blood, because his blood was enough to completely cause us to exit out from the rims or the authority of our oppression. Hallelujah. That's good teaching by itself. Okay. So when we deal with that, I'm giving you, perspective on text. So when you read that, you look at this with a different lens. So it's during the time of Passover. You got everybody coming in talking about what God has done. And they're almost blind to what God is doing because they're so consumed by what he's done, when what he's done was to make you sensitive to his ability. God can do something in the past to show you how great he is. But don't lock God into his ability in the past, or what he's done in the past, to where you forget to let that become fluid and fuel for your present. We said the same God that brought me out yesterday is the same God that can bring me out. We say that, but as soon as we get into something right now, oh Lord Jesus! Yeah. But really, those events and those encounters that we've had with God in the past should make us sensitive to his ability in the present. Okay. So here we are. Jesus is coming into Jerusalem. We're talking about him riding in on the donkey. He's coming, And last week we talked about how we respond, whether I'm responding out of recognition or I'm reacting because of other folks' response, or am I really moving in revelation and understanding because of relationship. Okay, so we're going to jump right in to verse number, let's look at verse number 11, then I'm going to jump right into verse number 12, because the meat of my text I want to deal with verse number 12, 13, and 14, but I just want to revisit verse number 11. And it says, and the multitude said, this is Jesus, the prophet of Nazareth of Galilee. We deal with the classification of their enlightenment with who they see Jesus as being. They see Jesus as a prophet, and understanding their teaching or historical value of that title prophet, that is someone that God uses. So they got to glimpse of him. They didn't understand he was not just somebody God was using. This was a manifestation of God in the flesh. They call him a prophet because he speaks something that they've been able to watch bring manifestation. You know what I mean? You can't call somebody a prophet if they speak something that nothing ever be coming from. You know what I'm saying? You don't call folks certain things. We do now, out of disrespect, and sometimes we just go with the flow. But if you understand, no Testament history, we didn't just call folks prophet because they would hold you to a litany. That if you said something and it didn't come to pass, we could burn you at the stake.
Yeah.
What would happen to the folks today if you said, okay, if you said that's going to happen, you stand right here? You know what I mean? So for him to even be called a prophet, he has already proven to some folks that his word is absolute. It is true. But they're off a little bit. They said he's a prophet of Nazareth of Galilee. Now we know if you go right to St. Matthew, the same book, chapter number 2, it's going to tell you. Now Jesus was born in Bethlehem. But they're classifying him from the place that they begin to see recognition of who he is. And that's always a place of teaching, because you can't always wait for folks to recognize you for you to begin to understand that you already had something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They saying I'm from Nazareth of Galilee. You know, and I love Lorraine. Appreciate how y'all treated me like family. I'm here. I'm a Lorraine Knight. But really, I started in Norwalk. Right. You know what I'm saying? Even like when you see me pastoring now, a lot of folks don't know I started pastoring, co-pastoring with my dad. Yeah, I pastored with him almost, 4 or 5 years. And when I was pastoring with him, I had to play the organ. And I would have to get off the organ. I had to do praise and worship. I would get off the organ and then come to the podium and preach. Preached around 8 people. And out of the 8 people, maybe 4 of them were over the age of 20. And I'm being nice. I had nieces and nephews that would come up while I was preaching and say, let me have some candy, Uncle Junior. No. I'm saying that to say sometimes when folks start giving you recognition, they have no idea what you've been doing before you got there. You know what I'm saying? So when we look at Jesus, they call him the prophet of Nazareth, Galilee. Then he ain't caught up in where they're labeling him from, but really, he's not just a prophet of them, but he's a prophet from God. You know what I mean? So they're still giving some level of recognition to a place, and they haven't given it to the purpose. Okay, I'm just expository teaching. We just talking. You see what I mean? Because when they get recognition, he's the prophet of Nazareth of Galilee. No, I'm a prophet of God. Prophet of a particular place. I'm a prophet of God. Because if God gives you something, he gives it to you that we can deal with a certain region,
But when God gives you something, it works all over the world. Why? His authority is worldwide. Helping somebody. Because you can go in a certain place and not be received. And if you think that's the only place where your gift works, then now you're going to be fumbling to function because of the friction of not getting the acceptance. Yeah. But if I know that this gift came from God and you've already misdiagnosed my start, I'm not going to let you hinder my destiny by your description. You can't let folks hinder your destiny by their description when you know your destiny is greater than they can describe. Now, he's the Son of God, and y'all just calling him a prophet. He really naturally entered into the earth realm in Bethany, and y'all saying he's from Nazareth of Galilee. Y'all have made too many mistakes for me to let you give total accredited or to accredit who I am by your description. Wow. Why am I teaching like this? Because when you start coming into it, if you're not strong enough to handle the movement of God, you will find all kind of little stumbling blocks to try to defend or try to discuss, and you need to say, I'm too close to destiny to spend time trying to explain something that you've already caught up in your own mind. Let me expose you to the whole truth. Because when I get on Calvary, you're going to really realize that surely this is the Son of God. So let me just get on to where I'm going. Because some stuff will just be squashed by the next rim of manifestation. Okay, that's what I'm going to deal with in verse number 11. Now let's go to verse number 12. And Jesus went into the temple of God. Whose temple was it? God. It's God's temple. Yes, since we're in Bible study, let me unravel why this is significant. If you understand history, biblical history, this is the second temple. Somebody say the second temple.
Second temple.
This is the second temple. But this is what we call the third dwelling place. The first dwelling place that we find God coming in and dwelling in is the tabernacle. That's the first place. Talked about that on Sunday, about the Ark of the Covenant. We have, I'm going to tabernacle with you. God hanging out with man where he gave Moses instruction. The first temple that was built by Solomon, who is David's son. David caught the vision and desired to build it, but he was not qualified to build it. God says, no, you can't build it. You got too much. What? Too much blood. Come on, let me respond y'all because I'm a thinker. We talk about the Passover. Represents the blood. But he says, David, your kind of blood ain't the kind of blood I need on my temple. I don't need vengeance blood. I need innocence. Innocence blood, okay. So David couldn't build the temple. Solomon built the temple. And my, what a temple did Solomon build. He built such a beautiful temple that the queen of Ethiopia came in. And I told him that she passed out like, and the half has not been told. When they built that temple, catch this, when they built the temple, God endorsed it by coming down with fire. Fire came down, showed the glory of God was in the temple. Folks got mad, God allowed them to be overtaken, then with Zerubbabel, then with all the time of exile. The temple is torn down. When you get over to Nehemiah and Ezra, where you're dealing with the rebuilding of the temple, which is the second temple. That temple was not made as glamorous, not made as big, but God says the glory in the latter house or the second temple is going to be greater, come here, than the first one. But when they got that building, guess what? There was no fire. Nothing happened until Jesus showed up. Because this temple did not have the fire to represent the presence of God. You had a physical manifestation, come here, of God in the temple, which is greater, but it was less received. So when he says, I'm coming into the temple of God, it is the word of God being manifested and complete. When he walks in, he is fulfilling what the scripture said. And there's going to be a greater glory. Jesus walks in there and they have no idea that the greater glory has come in. How many of us have been in a greater situation but we treated it less than? Right. Because we compared how he did it before and we didn't remain sensitive to the move of God. Okay, so he comes into the temple, and this is not his first time in the temple. This is not his first time. Somebody say this is not his first time. This is not his first time in the temple. And the Bible says he cast out all them that sold and bought in the temple and overthrew the tables of the money changers and the seats of them that sold doves. You never said that's extreme. It's extreme because they didn't listen the first time. Okay, go to St. John chapter 2. St. John chapter 2, verse 15. Are y'all there? St. John chapter 2, verse 16. This is right after he got done having a party at the wedding. He's just now coming into who he is. So this ain't the end. So these are not at the same time. This is not in Passion Week. This is right after his ministry starts. He just started his ministry. He's only done one great miracle that's publicized. And we argue publicized because the mom says, when they're out of wine, I know what you can do. So that meant there were probably some things he's been doing that's not written or recorded. I told you I pastored in Norwalk and y'all had no idea. You can't go by when you see this and say, oh, that's good for 10 years. No, I've got probably almost 18 years. You know what I'm saying? So in St. John chapter number 2, look at verse number 14. And he found in the temple those that sold what? Oxen, sheep, doves, and the changers of the money. And what did he do? He told them, y'all got to get on out of here. Y'all can't do this. We're not going to be doing this. So when they studied this out, they said, he had went in there and told them before, we can't, we're not going to use it like this. And I need to give a backdrop to conditions during that time so that it's not misconstrued with understanding why they had those things set up. If you understand, deal with Leviticus, deal with sin offerings, dealing with that time, that whenever there was time of sacrifice, definitely coming in during the time of the Passover festival where they reconciled or wanted to reconcile with God, there would be offerings. That's why if you didn't have a lot of money, you couldn't get doves, couldn't get an ox. You had to get an old turtle dove or a pigeon to represent your sins. It had to be something that was living, that had blood. Blood. Why? Because we go to Genesis. There can be no exchange for sin without death. Because of sin, something had to what? Die. So we had substitutes. And we had to buy turtle doves, had to buy pigeons. If you had money, you can buy an ox, buy old goat. You know what I mean? You depend on how wealthy you were. If you had great wealth and a big family, you needed an ox. So we cover all that sin. That's why even when you deal with Job, and why they believe Job was the oldest book in the Bible, is because it talks about him making sacrifice for his children. And that's why he can't understand. It says, and Job daily in the morning had made sacrifice for his children. Meaning he went through acts of atonement. Acts of atonement. But what had happened, folks was trying to profit off your need, but they couldn't make your need happen.
Right.
They had perverted the process to make money. Well, I'm out here now. They made the blessing so expensive. Come here. That the only way you can get the blessing of redemption, you got to remortgage your home. Okay, I can go down another street. I'm lying, but I'm out of hell. If you want to be blessed, send me. Because the mindset had become perverted from the purpose. The problem I have with us versus them, they had no Holy Ghost in them. But how can we pervert it and we have the Spirit freely given unto us? Okay. I ain't gonna get into preaching on this thing. So what happens, he's upset because we have shifted the purpose of what was established, and we made it all about profit. We made it, you got a need, and I'm going to drain you because of your need, and I can't even guarantee the change because the hearts of those who were even presenting it now at this time have become corrupt because they were not even aligned with the presence of God. Proven. They didn't even recognize who Jesus was. So you still trying to fulfill something without the function or the unction to even be relative to what needs to be released. Did y'all catch that?
Yes, sir.
Come on, Jesus is saying, I'm coming into it. But there's some things we got to get right. So what does he do? He comes in there and he says, after he's driving out the money changes, and the money changes, let me deal with that point there. Well, let me back up, let me really open it. And he cast out all of them that sold and bought in the temple. Which means you have exchanged worship for worship. Now we're exchanging it in a worship versus true worship. And I understand worship deals with worth, who he's worth. But now we're trying to deal with the gravity of what you can give me determines what you can get. For God so that he... Okay, if you give me something, come here, then why are you looking? I'm going to give this to you, but hey, you got it. No. It was a principle in offering because it showed appreciation. But God ain't like, well, if you can't pay pay me this much, I can't save you. If you know that, do you know how corrupt that would be? Do you know there are religions who use that scale? And if you give me enough, you can pay somebody out of purgatory in the world. I'm serious. God paid these lots, and I can pray your loved one through. See, when you don't have a relationship with God yourself, and there's something in you that desires change, you'll reach for anything that sounds.
Pastor.
Am I helping y'all yet? So what happened, they perverted it. They moved it out of the lines of the way God intended for it to be. Yes, there was going to be some sacrifice because of the exchange, but yet we're not going to merit what God can do just predicated on what you give. So it had become corrupt in its sense. And then what was happening, we would have money changers. Money changers, because we're dealing with the time of Pentecost, that you had all different regions coming in, and because you came into our territory, we had to exchange your money for our money. I can deal with praise. This opens up so much. And what would happen, your 25 cents don't mean 25 cents over here. It only means 5.
Yeah, come on. Pastor.
And the challenge was, am I giving it to you or am I giving it to come here? Because if I'm giving it to God, why are you trying to value why are you trying to value what I'm giving to God versus what you're giving to God? And how are you going to tell me what I'm giving to God is only worth this much unless you're trying to make a profit out of what I'm giving to God? Because if I'm giving it to God, God is the one watching the basket. You remember the widow woman who gave only the money? Let him watch the... Okay. But now they have perverted the process. So because you didn't come from where I came, you ain't got nothing. You came from over there, your praise don't count. Your sacrifice. So he's going on saying, y'all got this all messed up because I'm the God of all nations. But I should have known somebody that's calling me a prophet only from Nazareth. You've already limited who I am, so I know you're not going to treat folks right. Right. Because you're not seeing me in the totality of my ability. So he comes in, he's throwing over the tables of the money changer. Don't need no tables up in here. Only table's going to be up in here is the last table. Come on. No table. They just setting up money exchange systems. That's why you got to always balance ministry with the marketplace. Because the marketplace qualifies and deems what you have only gives you access. You know what I mean? When you create a marketing place versus genuine ministry, then it limits that you can only get predicated on what you have. So I can be hungry, but if y'all selling meals for $8 and I only got $3,
watch it.
Are you just gonna give me a cup of mashed potatoes?
Watch it.
Ministry can't work like the marketplace. Come. It can't work like the marketplace. Look at somebody and say, ministry can't work like the marketplace. Because the marketplace is driven by the profit.
Yep.
But y'all don't want to receive the profit. Come here. I told you they called him a prophet, but they're trying to work for the prophet, but they're two different prophets.
That's good.
Y'all got that? Are we talking about God's spokesperson or that extra you keep in your pocket? Two prophets. Yeah, we follow the prophet here. And that'll be $18.72. Will that be cash or charge?
Wow.
Be led by the prophet. No, you can't. Be led by that. Are y'all with me here? So he's throwing over the tables and the seed of them that sow doves. The seed. So it's already crazy when we start talking about just making seats in the temple without them being earned. You remember as Jesus would go traveling, a mother comes to Jesus and says, come on, I want one of my sons on the left and on the right. I want them seated right with you. Well, you don't determine that. Your discipline and your dedication. He said, how can you tell me one on the one level? Can they even drink of the cup that other? That's a whole other message. But here you got exchanges and folks that are dealing with the dove. When we deal with the dove, it becomes synonymous with anointing, becomes synonymous with the oil, it becomes synonymous of the sign of the presence of God. And sometimes folks try to look like the position even though they're not at the right place in heart.
Wow.
We got our money changers table, we got other sacrifice, but when it comes to something that symbolizes the anointing, here you got folks sitting down.
That's good.
Okay, let me go down this street because it opens up. Typical teaching is you got folks that's handling a key sacrifice that deals with the movement of sin, removal of sin, because the dove represents removal of sin, sacrifice represents removal of sin, and you so busy wanting a prophet that you're not working the witness. If I got the token that people need in order to get their sins, I should be like, listen, take this, come on. But you got that, and you over here, sit y'all like it. Because you ain't about really the need, you're about the greed of it. You just, oh, that's okay. So what does he do? He comes in there, verse number 13, and he says, it is what?
Written.
My house shall be called the house of prayer. But ye have made it a what? A den of thieves. Corresponding teaching on that is that some believe when he says, my house, it echoed. Because it was not just a statement, but it is a proclamation of authority. Because when he says, my house, it opens that he's more than just a prophet, but he is in a harmonious state with God. In order to appreciate that, you have to know John 10:30. John 10:30. John 10:30. Because when you look at John 10:30, it says something that gives great reference. And it's a great reference to why he's going crazy up in that house. Are y'all there? Huh?
Yeah.
What? So when he walk up in there like, oh, y'all done messed my house up. No, this is personal. I told y'all to quit doing this. But no, y'all kept doing what you wanted to do. Now let's do flashback study. What did he ride in on? Something that was stubborn. He gets on something that's stubborn, once ain't never been written before. If there's any area, catch me, I would have thought he would have been yelling, get up! Keep up! Keep up! Move to the left! Move to the right! got good news here. So he comes in there, he goes on, rightfully so. And tonight, as I teach and I close, I just want to use, as you come into it, just right, get it in order, and then watch what happens. Okay, that's my submission. Topic, title. Because you come into it, you got to get some things in order, and then watch what happens. He says, y'all, my house shall be called a house of what? Prayer. House of prayer. House that you come to talk to me. Prayer is how we talk to God. Right? Prayer is how we talk to God. Right?
Yes.
So, if I come to his house, I'm supposed to pray. Because prayer is how I talk to God. Okay. I would not come over to Mother Williams' house and sit on the sofa.
All right, sir. All right.
Then why?
I keep on.
I come over to talk to Mother Williams. No, I'm helping y'all. We come to his house. Should be the same intention that I would come to your house. I come to hang out with you. Now, how was your week? But when we come to the house of God, sometimes we don't have the same intent.
That's good, sir.
I didn't come to your house just to watch TV. I'm going to watch that at my house. But I came to talk. But we come sometimes to the house of God just to see who's here. Well, my God, did you come to see me? Or did you come to? Y'all done made my house a hangout. And I've been going upstairs and going to bed because y'all came to hang out, but not with me.
That's good.
My house should be called a place of communication with me. Yeah. If there's no communication with God at his house, how do you know it's his house?
Wow.
I'm going here this way. Because if it's the owner's house, the owner should speak.
That's good.
And there should be some encounter. I know growing up that I got friends that go see Tyrone, go see AD them. And I know I went to their parents' house to see them. But at least when I got there, I had to say, how you doing, Mr. and Mrs. O'Lady? I had to, you had to recognize whose house. My house should be a house where we talk. And don't get all deep because you know how to go to other folks' house and talk. Come on. Don't act like, oh, I can't do that. You went over your friend's house yesterday, you didn't have no problem doing that. Matter of fact, after you left him, you got into the car and called him back on the cell phone and said, you know what, I forgot to tell you about it. It's funny. Now, we have no problem talking like that, but as soon as we come to his house.
Wow.
Okay, all right, that's the whole other. Okay, so he's in my house is called a house of place of communication. But ye have made it a den. Den. A house to a den. Some of y'all have dens in your house. A den. A den of thieves. That's why the world don't want to come to church. I ain't giving that preacher my money. He ain't gonna feed.
Yeah.
Because now the perception is it's a den. Come here. All they want to do is take your money. That's what they used to do. That's why Jesus came and turned the table. Because they were, I was at one church, they had 6 offerings. 6 offerings.
Yes, sir.
They had no 6. They had 6 offerings.
Yeah. At least 4.
So they talking about it. Listen, when I got there, it was 6 offerings.
Yeah.
But that's what happened, brother. So when you start doing all that many offers, folks say, listen, I'm only giving $20. So I'm going to give $4 in the first offering. However you want this 20, you can get it all cut up, or you can get it all home. You know what I mean? Y'all listen. I ain't giving no more, I'm going to give it. That's how people think, you know what I mean?
That's correct.
And folks like, you got me that first time, man, but you ain't gonna get it. Folks like, you got me, man, but you ain't gonna get it. Because now they perceive it as a bid. Come on. And that's what I ain't giving that church. All they gonna do is take your money and they ain't gonna do nothing. Because that perception didn't just start with this generation.
Right.
Jesus had to come and say, you're not going to use my house. Come here. To manipulate the folks that need help. So if I get it in order, my house will start helping again. Look at the next verse and I'm leaving you alone. Are y'all good? All right. Right after he gets in verse number 13, look at verse number 14. Look at what happened. Who came? Now this is crazy. Look at the 2 types of persons that started coming to him where? What came in? Who came in there? Blind and the lame. Blind deals with those who couldn't see. This is heavy because certain conditions are spiritual and not just physical. Catch me here. If they were blind, catch me. They didn't see all the craziness going on. So they didn't see that you had manipulators. But there had to be something in the atmosphere that they could see through the spirit. Catch me. Because they didn't see folks over here sitting out doing the money thing. Because they're what? But you can be physically blind, but spiritually aware. Come here. He said, I might be blind, but my spirit is saying don't go. Woo. Okay. I'll help somebody catch this. There are some things that folks might not be able to see for themselves, but they can still tell that it ain't right. That's why you want the right atmosphere. See, there's some folks that carry the aura of a wrong atmosphere. And when you carry the aura of the wrong atmosphere, I might be wanting to help people. Like, oh, I can't. We're going to help them. The aura. You can never say don't carry the wrong atmosphere. Look at somebody and say don't carry the wrong atmosphere. Don't you pick up the wrong atmosphere. That's why Jesus came in immediately throwing like, I'm not even going to let this kind of atmosphere because they're blind. And as soon as he started turning stuff over, they didn't see any change, but they felt something in there had changed.
Yes.
So you got stuff changing that's making folks know they can have a change.
That's good.
So now change is in the atmosphere coming to play on the natural so that you can catch the spiritual. He turned over tables of the money change. And when he turned the tables over, change went
Everywhere.
There's change, and y'all listen to me. There's change everywhere. You got change running on the cheers. You got change running all down the aisle. You got change running everywhere.
Yes.
One move, he released change. I wish I had 5 people that would look around and say, I'm getting my change. There's some change on the floor. There's some change. Look. Talk about me if you want to. If I see some change on the ground, I will park my car and I will, look at it. I'm getting all the change that I can get because change adds up. Say, you got change everywhere. You got change everywhere. Literally, you got change everywhere and you got change in the atmosphere. Blind people start coming in and saying, oh, there's change in here. I can tell. Can y'all not helping me? Y'all not helping me. I'm closing. I'm closing what you call a preacher's close. They can tell change is everywhere. Change got so thick in there that even crippled folks said, I can use some change. Y'all missing it. I've been out here begging for what's all over the place in here. If I love you while y'all standing here looking at each other, he done flipped the tables over and change is there. Cripple folks saying, I can use some of that. Y'all laughing, but catch the principle. Y'all gonna teach y'all like there was change everywhere. You got blind folks coming because of change. You got lame folks. Crippled folks. Folks that haven't been able to walk right. But when they saw change, y'all not helping me in here. If you see the right change, you're like, I gotta go. Spiritual. See, when you really want change, you don't get up off of it. No. Flip tables over. And the Bible says, and the blind came to him. Lame and the blind and the lame came to him. What? In the temple. And he was what? Look at the potential in the temple that was being hindered by what was going on in the temple. The potential in the temple was being hindered by what was going on in the temple. And what was going on in the temple was not the right thing. If you ever get it in order and come into it, certain things will just happen. Challenge of the text says, I don't know the timeline. How fast did that happen? Like right after? Or did people talk about it? You know what I mean? You deal with that when you add attention to the text. Because sometimes we go from verse number 14 to 15, but we don't know if there's a timeline. But the suggestion of the text is that it was immediately, because he was still in the temple. Now that's heavy with his demeanor. How many ever had a parent that went off before?
Okay.
You know what I mean? When I say went off, like your brother and sister did something, and your mom like, yeah, woman, on that! No, catch me, I'm going someplace. Like once mama didn't go off, normally you say, ain't nobody asking mama nothing.
Right.
Because they need that cool down. Come here. I'm going to take it. Sister Renee, give her that moment to cool down. But when the text says, right after he went off, he went back to heal. Y'all better help me here. Do you know that kind of compassion? That right after giving a whooping, give it, how you doing? Because he done went off, I'm scared to even ask him.
Wow.
Did you see that? He went from going off to blessing. Oh, I can shout about that. Because that's why church is so awesome. He can be chastising somebody over here while you get your breakthrough over there. It can be the other side. It can happen all in the same temple. That's why you can't be coming into the presence of God. Sometimes he has to correct me, and right after he's done correcting me, he can bless me. Right after, is there anybody in here that can give God praise? Because right after he got done yelling at you, he opened up the windows of heaven and praised there anybody in here. Right after he said, don't do that anymore, he said, I'll make you the head. And man, is there anybody in here? Hallelujah! I know what it is to be. Hallelujah. Right after he told me don't do that no more, he didn't open up the door that I was supposed to go in. Yo, I'm so glad I didn't have to stay grounded 20 years. I'm so glad I wish I had help. As soon as you call on the Lord, he said, and ask for forgiveness, he'll throw it into the sea. That means that you could have messed up this afternoon.
Pastor?
Got forgiveness and be blessed tonight. Do you understand that power? Ooh. Somebody need to lift their hand and say, I know what they're talking about there. I know what he's talking about there. I know how he can flip the script on you. Not give you what you deserve. If you chastise you, say, don't do that no more. Now let's go get some ice cream. Woo! He went from turning over the tables and going off to saying, whosoever will let him come, let me do that. Yeah. Do y'all understand the abundance of his love? He wants to love you more than he wants to leave you. He wants to redeem you more than he wants to reject you. He wants to heal you more than he wants to harm you. God, that's good. There's some things as you're coming into it, you've got to get it right. Look at your neighbor and say, you got to get some things right. You got to get some things right. Some areas. Some areas, you're going to just have to say, you got to go. That's got to go. That's got to go. I'm not going to say, woe is me. I'm not going to stay low and lonely. No, that's got to go. That's got to go. I'm not going to stay in Anxietyville. No. I ain't going to stay in Hopeless Avenue. No. I'm helping somebody. I'm not, I trust his word too much. Sometimes we get into a redundant season. Or sometimes we talk to ourselves in a negative tone too long. And it's when we do that, we need to come to his house. Sometimes when you feel alone in your own house, you need to go to somebody's house. You know what I mean? I'm coming. You know I'm going to be. Sometimes you need to go to somebody's house that you can talk to. That ain't going to tell nobody. Somebody's house you can talk to that's going to give you good advice. That after you're done telling them the truth, they ain't going to look at you differently. Well, I've got a good place that you can go. If y'all understood the power of the house of God. Somebody tonight be like, after y'all done leaving, just tell me when to turn the lights off. I'm going to stay because there's some things I need to talk about tonight. Said my house should be a house of prayer. Telling you, I've learned something that sometimes when I'm in critical positions and conditions, and I don't know which way to go, I've learned how to come into this sanctuary. To be honest, when I'm in that position, I don't sit in that seat over there. I don't sit all up there trying to be high and mighty. I find me a seat right around there. And I sit there. Because sometimes positions put you in perspective where you think you got to do all the talking. Sometimes I say, Lord, your servant here. Tell me which way to go. You know what I'm saying? But I've learned this, that God is a peculiar God. He'll tell you. And then if you hear from him, sometimes you go through a season of silence. Because his word is so true that when he told you the first time, he didn't need his word to be altered. He just needed it to be accepted. And sometimes when I deal with folks, you know who I'm talking about? I'm talking to somebody who's online. I haven't heard of God in a long time. I said, what is the last thing he told me to do? The last thing he told you to do? And so often, they be like, he told me to do such and such. And I asked, have you done it? Not yet. Why would you expect him to say something else? Come here. If you haven't done what he already told you, come here. Somebody needs to lift their hand and say, Lord, help me to do what you told me to do. Help me to do what you tell me to do. Help me. After I hear it, sometimes what you tell me to do is bigger than my imagination. It's bigger than my bank account. It's bigger than what I can do on my own. God says, I know it is. That's why you got to trust me. Woo! Father, we thank you tonight because there's a glory in this house. Hallelujah, there's a power in this house. There's a shifting in this house. There is a release in this house. And somebody's life never going to be the same. I'm compelled tonight to pray for somebody that's watching us live. Father, you know where they are. You know what they need. Somebody has been manipulated and abused by things said to be ministry. And it was manipulation. And now they have a hard time trusting because they had a poor representation of purpose. But God, I speak to them today. I say, give God a real chance. Not man, not woman. Look beyond the vessels that may have been marred, but look at the viewpoint of the God that is speaking to you even now. God is calling you out, saying, come up higher. There's still work for you to do. I've been hurt. We've all been hurt. I've been offended. We've all been offended. But it doesn't stop the assignment that's on your life. Speak to those that are in this sanctuary. God has flipped over the table of the money changers. And change is all around you. Let that change run into your car. Let it run into your house. Let it run into your family. Let it run onto your job. In the name of Jesus. And we'll give you the glory, the honor, and the praise. Come on, take the next 30